Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Al Ferguson, and let's queer up faith. Cardinal Müller slams gay lobby before the Pope's vote. In a headline that's stirring debate across the global Catholic community, conservative German Cardinal Gerhard Müller has slammed the new film Conclave, warning fellow cardinals not to behave like the scheming clerics portrayed in it. Speaking to the Times of London, Müller insisted, quote, "It's not a power game played by stupid people looking to manipulate like in this film, which has nothing to do with reality," end quote. But what's making bigger waves, especially for LGBTQ audiences, is his renewed attack on what he calls the homosexual lobbies. That's a quote. In La Stampa, Müller declared, quote, "The homosexual lobbies want to equate unions between people of the same sex to marriage, but this totally contradicts the doctrine of the Bible," end quote. He's not clear whether he means lobbyists inside the Vatican or beyond, but this the rhetoric comes just days before the College of Cardinals convenes to choose the new pope, nearly 80% of whom were appointed by the late Pope Francis, known for a more inclusive tone. The conclave, as it's called, is on the verge of happening as bombshells in resignation through the Vatican. Belgian canon law scholar Rik Torfs told the London Times that the majority of the cardinals voting for the next pope are probably gay, despite church teachings labeling homosexuality as sinful. Müller has long clashed with Pope Francis, especially after the Pope allowed blessings for same-sex couples last year. Müller called it, quote, "an obvious heresy," end quote. As the conclave nears, LGBTQ Catholics and allies, both outside and inside the church around the world, are watching closely. Because what happens in the Sistine Chapel won't just shape doctrine, it may define the Church's future stance on love, identity, and belonging. The decision at Conclave will have significant effects on the entire LGBTQ community, as the new pope dramatically influences both political and public opinion on gay acceptance. It's an interesting story. First off, I want to go back to the Catholic scholar. There has been lots of reporting, we have reported it, that as high as 80% estimates of Catholic clergy are gay men. They're closeted gay men. His statistic that he has given to London Times on the cardinals is breathtaking. Now, of course, there's no litmus test to prove that, but it is widely believed that a majority of Catholic clergy are actually closeted gay men. So it's interesting of that contradiction. If you have seen the movie Conclave, very interesting. I literally was gobsmacked at the end of the movie. The movie's been out for a long time, so I'm not spoiling. This is a spoiler alert, but the trans storyline at the end of the Pope that is selected is really an interesting storyline, and some plausibility because of the personality of the cardinals, which is being discussed just this week. So, you're not in the bed, you're not in the bedroom, you're not lifting the skirts, so you don't know. It's an interesting story. One last thing about the conclave. For LGBT, if you're not following the conclave, you should be. It is incredibly important. Catholics make up 1/3 to 25% of the entire population of this planet. And what is led by the Pope is very powerful, both on the politics of countries and on the populist opinion of our people. two leading contenders of cardinals for the Pope. One is a Filipino cardinal who could be the first from Asia, considered very liberal, has been very pro on his acceptance of LGBT and doing a message of love of the LGBTQ community. One of the other leading contenders is a cardinal from Hungary who is friends with the Iron Fist dictator of Hungary, who has now banned any representation of LGBT in the country, cited by that cardinal. Now, for LGBT worldwide, in America's influence, in Europe's influence, in South America's influence, in Asia's influence, who would we want to be the next pope? You have a clear choice, all decided by this conclave. So I highly recommend we watch the next day. It's very important for us.
Personally, I think that this tired, old, bejeweled creature in fancy shoes with a smoking purse, who is as disgusting as Pope Benedict XVI, aka Cardinal Rat, should just shut the fuck up. Old men in brocade gowns shouldn't throw stones.
I thought the movie was actually really amazing and brought to light a lot of really important things. Like, at the end of the day, these are men with ambition.
Yeah.
And, you know,
it's politics.
A lot of, it's politics.
We're competing the Kamala Trump in the Vatican at Sistine Chapel. Yes.
So sure, there's going to be a cat
It's a dirty little secret that they don't want to talk about. And we understand that, don't we? You know, we know there's power and there's money. And so those two things, even in the church, create a situation. But there's better power and worse power, and that's our hope of what's is going to happen.
And you get to ride in the Pope Mobile.
Yeah,
God help us all.
That's right. And I'm a person of faith. I watch these days and go, I'm very hopeful.
Yeah.
That Filipino cardinal, I forgive me for not being able to remember his name, but his selection by the conclave would just be astounding in our world. It would have dramatic effect in the world, and
it would continue Francis's vision, which would be amazing,
and perhaps even to the next step, because Francis, at the end of the day, while we are positive about what he did and many of the things that he said, it's still a mixed bag. He takes one step forward, maybe two steps back.
Didn't he use some anti-gay slurs?
Yeah, and a lot of people argue that was a language issue. Sure. But at the end of the day, he's not Joe Biden, etc. So this new pope, fingers crossed, could really have significant effects on helping heal the religious faith. And one other thing of why this is important is lots of people make the joke in social media that our vice president went to Rome and had the Pope killed. So,
I saw that. I saw social media around that.
Blood on his hoof.
I'm done. I'm out of here.
All right, but watch the conclave, because it's really, we're living in a time where dramatic, positive, maybe dramatic negative things could happen. That is a big LGBT story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBT stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.